And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pawlak, your host for another edition of Community Viewpoint. The segment that we're doing now is Where Do We Go From Here series, and tonight is I'm saying why should we care? We have with us Vicky Parker, the current chair of the town board, and Tom Waters, Dr. Tom Waters, and I'm sure you've seen some of the papers, some of the news. 5-0, the ballot item could sink the town board. We're going through some upheavals with the commissioners, and we shouldn't be, because the town and the Nye County Commissioners should be working together. We are within the borders of Nye County, third largest county in the United States, and most of the commissioners live in the town proper, basically, or at least 3 of them, right?
We will have 4 commissioners in January.
That's correct. So, let's look at what's been happening lately. It came to a head 3-4 weeks ago with the rescinding of Ordinance 46.
Yeah, that is correct.
And what was the problem there with the ordinance?
The problem, as I see it, it was a bad ordinance, and it needed to be either revised or completely done away with. In looking at it, the attorney had decided it was unconstitutional, and it violated the rights of our citizens.
Okay.
And because of that, we looked at it, we read it very clearly, we took the advice of our attorney, and we voted to repeal the ordinance.
Okay, and that's when all hell broke loose, right?
Yes, but it broke loose primarily because of when people think about conspiracies and they think about all the other things that in a different agenda, they were comparing it to incorporation and connecting it to incorporation, when really it was a bad ordinance, it needed to be gone, had nothing at all to do with incorporation.
And basically you said that ordinance actually took away our rights to petition.
That ordinance actually took away the right to have a petition. And we have constitutional rights to have a petition. That's obviously something that you would not want an ordinance to do, not to take away the rights of our citizens.
And this was not a grab to get incorporation whatsoever.
It was definitely not a grab for incorporation. And again, it had nothing to do with incorporation.
Corporation really is not an issue. It's a red herring. Despite the accusations by a group of people, and they had their big signs, sign our petition to stop incorporation, the town board is not pursuing incorporation. In fact, we disbanded the incorporation advisory board and no longer even want to study incorporation.
Right, so that's not on the board. There's nothing moving forward with that. You were just trying to right a wrong, basically.
That is
That's
correct. And I spoke to our attorney at length about it. First of all, let me say that one of the goals and objectives that the town board has given to the town manager is to go through the ordinances and revise or repeal the ones that need attention. And we've already taken care of the trash ordinance, the business license ordinance.
Yes.
We've removed the animal control ordinance. And this is an ordinance that came to our attention from a citizen who said, you need to look at this ordinance next. And so our attorney looked at it, and he spoke with me. He spoke with Mr. Kobarger and said, this ordinance is null and void on its face because it conflicts with the state statutes. And 2, he feels that it was unconstitutional. And I asked him at that time, well, write a revision or a new ordinance that will say that the town of Pahrump cannot be incorporated without a vote of the people. And he said, let's do it as a resolution, because the town board does not have the authority to write ordinances on how to incorporate the town. Only the state legislature can do that. And so that's why we had on that agenda an ordinance saying, a resolution, and a resolution states town policy. The resolution stated that it was the town board's policy that should incorporation ever be pursued, that the citizens would have the right to vote on it first.
And getting citizens to vote on anything, I think, is very important. which is why the issue with the commissioners, I thought was important to have it on the ballot so that all those people that want to have a town board type of government have a chance to vote on it. But I did want the signatures to be there on the petitions. And according to the DA, they did not get the number of signatures they needed.
Proper amount of signatures. Now, people complain about the town board not being set up in reality, that commissioners have a more of a proper procedure. They follow the rules a little bit better than you. But you were showing me a picture. Chad, do you have the one picture of one of the commissioners during the, yeah.
And that was the seriousness that they took this issue. There was a lot of buffoonery and joking around, and this is a very serious issue. I found it offensive.
Okay, I love Butch too, and he's, I want the system to work. I want the county to work. I want the town to work, but we have to do better than that. Oh, there's the with his hard hat on too. Well, thanks for getting that picture too. But it wasn't very serious. If they were
I don't think they took it very seriously. I think they knew what they wanted to do, and they did it. I had sent a message to Commissioner Shenhofen, and I said, if the people get the signatures on the petitions, it should be on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but in this case, if they don't get the signatures, then they're going to use the commissioners to put it on the ballot for them. And that's exactly what they did.
Mm.
And again, I have no objection to it being on the ballot. People should have a right to vote on that, but I do have a major objection over the buffoonery. It isn't a big joke. There are ramifications to this. For example, the town staff is absolutely up in arms. They're terrified they're going to lose their jobs, and this hangs over them for a number of months. That's an end result that they hadn't thought about.
Right, I had that same, that happened to me when I was working for the Yucca Mountain Project, because we knew the axe was going to fall, and it kept putting it off. So and then sooner or later, the axe did fall for us. So they're under the same
Yes,
dark cloud right now.
And it's not fair to them.
No,
the
'cause
other thing that I have a major problem with, and I know that Dr. Waters does too, is that they didn't have the courtesy of even giving us a phone call. They didn't discuss this with us in advance. They didn't even tell us it was coming.
Is there some way to rectify that? I know this is closing the barn after the horses left. What could we do in the future? I know the town board is meeting with the commissioners. This is after the fact too, later this month in a couple of weeks, to have a sit down with them.
We have a meeting scheduled for the 16th at 6 p.m. At this point, it's still scheduled. I hope that meeting still goes on, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen there. I have to say, too, I work with Commissioner Boraski on a variety of issues, and I know we can still work together. I don't have a problem with that. He's got to do what he needs to do as commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, the town board needs representation. I have to mention the fact that I spoke to a person that signed the petition, and I found out, and he admitted, that he didn't have a clue as to what he was really signing. He said that, I asked him, I said, what are your complaints against the town board? And he listed 5 complaints. And all those complaints are things that the commissioners have responsibility for, and the town board does not. So I asked him if he had any complaints against how we operate the cemetery. He said no. I said, how about the parks? He said no. I said, how about the swimming pool? No. How about the fire department? No. I said, those are the only 4 things the town board has any responsibility for.
Mm-hmm.
So all of your complaints are against the commission, and you signed a petition to turn everything over to the commission. And he said, well, I didn't know that. I said, but you signed the petition. And then I asked him, I said, even if the people voted to do away with the town board, how soon would that happen? He said, well, in November. I said, no. He said, well, maybe the end of December. I said, no. We have to complete our terms of office according to the law. And that would be the end of 2014 or the end of 2016. He said, I didn't know that. I said, but you signed the petition. He said, there are a lot of people out there that sign, and they don't know that either. I said, then we have a job to do in making sure that people know exactly what it is they're signing for and what they're voting for in November.
Yeah, there is a good deal of education that the town board needs to do.
Absolutely.
Because I would say that easily 90% of the complaints that I get are things that we have no jurisdiction over.
That's
They're
correct.
county functions.
It's another thing, we have representation. I see the people in the crowd here for the commissioners meeting as well as the town board meetings. It's the same people. We're not able to get a vast majority of the people that are here, the retirees that they'll sit back, they won't come to the meetings. There are different reasons why they won't come to the meetings. Some of the people are veterans, some of the people
Yes.
are people who never held a gun in their hand, but some people are just intimidated. Some people don't want to be part of the anger, the shouting, I would rather see a more sedate meeting that's definitely run by Robert's rules.
Well, that's one of the reasons why that we changed, actually Mike changed the policy, and the town board has the ability to go back to allowing comment on every item, but so far hasn't really shown a desire to do so. And the reason why we moved to public comment at the beginning and the end, which by the way is within the NRSs, it's legal, is to try to make the meetings less combative.
Shorter?
Not necessarily shorter.
Just less combative.
Just less combative and less argumentative when you have people lining up just to say the same thing over and over because they can speak on each item.
Right.
And they don't really talk on the item, they just talk.
How many times in an evening can you hear fire Mr. Kohlbarger when his contract isn't up or anything? It just over and over again, the anger. And it was non-productive. I would be glad to allow public comment on every item as long as it's necessary. If we had citizens who sat down and said, you need to do this for A, B, C, or you should not renew Mr. Kohlbarger's contract because he did A, B, failed to do C, and D. If you give me logical reasons for things, I'll be willing to listen to you forever, but it's non-productive to have the screaming and the hatred when it has nothing to do with even the agenda items being discussed.
No.
The other side to that, and you mentioned about the veterans and some of the elderly and other people that won't come to the town board meetings. And, you know, I'm a Second Amendment proponent. I advocate that. I'm a gun owner. I'm also a member of the NRA. And I don't mind seeing people wear weapons, but there are times and places for that. I'm not saying that we should ban weapons or anything else, but there are a lot of people that will not come to town board meetings because of that fear. And many are veterans. Many understand weapons. They fought in wars, but yet they will not come to a town board meeting, and they've told me over and over, unless we can do something about people who are yelling and screaming and wearing guns, we will not come to the town board meetings. So we get the people that will yell and scream. And that's unfortunate that they're scaring away some of the people that would come and probably offer some very good points that we need to listen to.
Oh, definitely.
They call me, and they have very good points,
Yes.
but nobody else hears them.
Too bad we
I
can't
will
have
add,
video
too.
conferencing.
I'll add too that I do hear from some of the people that attend the town board meetings. Very few, and I'm talking maybe
handful?
5 or less of all the people that come and yell at the town board meetings, instead of contacting us before the town board meeting and saying, look, here's an idea I have, look into it. Those things we can do. But to come to us at the last minute and say, I've spoken to you, therefore you'd better listen, it's counterproductive.
And especially you, because I know you go out of your way to answer the questions, and you say, I received this before the meeting, and here is the answer.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that, because you have the chance to answer rather than being, as we say out here, bushwhacked by it during the
Yes.
meeting, because you would have to go do research, find the answer, and then give the correct answer, not just something, well, I don't like that.
That's correct.
You come up with the exact answer, and you need time for that. And it was great if we can give the town board or the commissioners the time in advance to make a logical and informed
And I
answer.
think all the town board members have mentioned that, please contact us before the meeting. Don't wait until the meeting to come in and say you disagree with something, because you haven't really heard it yet. But give us your ideas. We want to hear from the people, and we do hear from so many. But many of the people agree with what we're doing. They say, look, we understand, and I want to talk about the vacation destination, because that seemed to be a big thing, because people want to continue to call it a theme park and
It's
amusement
not.
park. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. What they need to look at is a vacation destination, someplace that people are willing to come and spend money here in Pahrump.
And we are moving forward with that. Contour has actually managed to get a BDR in on it. And it's my understanding they tied it to something that Las Vegas wants badly. So they are moving forward on this.
Just as long as there's no water.
They don't want our water.
All right. Let's continue a little bit more. How about some more answers? What can we do? What are some ways to alleviate, to subside some of the anger? I read to you this. This is from the Wednesday newspaper. We had comments after the headlines for the 5-0 ballot item could sink the town. There's some negative comments over there, and this last gentleman or lady, I have no idea who it is, had issues, and there was a second part to it, and this person was very eloquent the way they stated it. It says, number 2, caution. However, just because we replace them isn't going to get the naysayers what they want. I still want a town board advisory that will bring innovative ideas to the township. There isn't anything wrong with spirited debates. I don't mind disagreeing so much on the issues as long as my voice is heard and I'm treated with respect. I think this is getting lost in all the hidden agendas. We aren't all going to be 100% happy on every decision that the board has to make, but at least we know we are heard, respected, and that we are respected group that can, and they are a respected group that conduct themselves within a good work ethic and integrity. So I thank you for that. I have no idea who this person is, but that's there's logic in that.
I'd like to comment on that because I keep hearing, in fact, Mr. Boraski said that we were rude and obnoxious and treated the people with disdain, or words to that effect.
Arrogance.
Arrogance, yes. And I went back and I looked at the video of the past 2 meetings. And that meeting that was so contentious, where we had people screaming and yelling and were really rather rude, every single town board member treated them with respect. And you can go back and check that tape again. No matter what they said, we thanked them for their comments. We didn't make snide remarks back. I thought that we were very respectful to them.
And we've maintained that. We've maintained the respect. And one of the things that we help by doing that and maintaining that respect is getting the respect from the citizens. And we do get respect from the citizens. There are just a certain few that whenever they want to talk to us, they decide they need to yell.
They are, would you describe them as oppositionally defiant? Because I've seen them change sides on an argument. When they want us to say yes, and the town board starts talking, it looks like we're saying yes, and all of a sudden they're wanting us to say no. I'm not sure what they want. I really don't, other than being defiant. There doesn't seem to be a clear channel. At one time they're in favor of something, one time they're not. Do you know what they want?
Not really, but I do know that there are times when they have stated something, and I have stated that they are in error, and I have proven that they're in error. They don't come back and say, well, look, I was wrong, I apologize. They just go off on something else completely. And I get that from many of the people who really complain about things that we do.
That's why I said I think they're oppositionally defiant.
Well, as a former school administrator, we use that for our students, and I didn't want to use that for our citizens.
Well, another thing also, when I have an item that I have to speak on, and let's say I have a 3-minute time limit, when I'm done, I'm done. And if it's before 3 minutes, I say thank you and I leave. I don't like to run out the clock. So that's just not being very respectful either. Just to find things to say to add to the clock for the town board meeting as a whole. But have what we need to say written out if we can't think of it while we're up there, to make sure we have some sort of outline so we can make some sense. And
Absolutely.
We don't
And
flip while we're
And
there.
there have been times when we have allowed people to go well beyond their 3 minutes
I was gonna
because
say that.
what they're having to say has a great deal of relevance, and we really want to hear what they have to say.
So, yeah, we could bring that into within a 3-minute time period and get the point across. Plus, if we have something written out, we can present it to you prior to the meeting, so you would have some.
Or send it to us. They have our email addresses.
Yes.
They have our phone numbers. Send it to us.
I often read the emails that I get.
Yes.
And Dr. Waters does also.
Oh my God, yes, yeah, and he writes a lot too, letters to the editor. I don't know
Yes.
where you find all the time, but you're very eloquent, and you're a former administrator. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, but yeah, so you're out there, you're answering as best as you can. You're on TV here, you're in the radio, you're in the newsprint.
And I want you to know that both of us.
Did you get kicked out on breakfast, or you still go to breakfast?
I was asked not to come back to the breakfast.
But
And-
you're out there for everyone to
I want to say
see.
that both of us volunteer a great
Yes.
deal in the community, and we have access to huge numbers of people because of the community organizations that we volunteer for. It's diverse groups of people. And Dr. Waters can tell you, he walks into a restaurant or a store. You don't go in there unmolested. I'm saying that jokingly.
Don't say that.
Actually,
Identify that.
generally people are friendly, but they'll stop and they'll say you're doing a good job or
Yes.
tell you what your concerns are. We're out in the community, and we hear from large numbers of people. And I would like to say that when I hear listen to the people, we listen to the people. There's more people in this town than the ones that come to the town board meetings. And I've never counted more than 150 people at any meeting.
Right, yeah, I just had a flashback, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yep.
The worst case scenarios is around 200, yeah.
Out of 37,000.
Right. So what are we gonna do from here?
I would like to just keep letting the people know that if they're happy with the parks, and I go into the parks all the time, I get very few complaints. If they're happy with the pool, they seem to be very happy with the remodeling that we did. Are they happy with the cemetery? We don't get complaints from the cemetery.
At least not from the people in it.
And
so.
are you happy with the fire department? If you're happy with those 4 items, you're happy with the town. We handle nothing else. Everything else is county.
And the cemetery is growing as far as what we have to offer for the veterans too.
That's correct.
And that's going to be a real plus for us also. So that's it's just getting better and better from what's been happening. The fire department cannot be any better than it has been with the people that are in it. And Scott just got his master's.
It's just, it's for a straight A,
Yeah.
master's degree,
Oh.
fire sciences.
Right. I've been through a few fire marshals or fire chiefs, and he by far is I've known a lot of them, but he's the best. He keeps
Absolutely.
improving himself.
Absolutely.
Matt Lewis, a very dedicated
Awesome.
individual. He can't find anybody any better than that. He has to work with a lot of territory, and that's a hard job too, because there's vandalism in parks. And
Let me add the fact that we have added a park. We've added Simpkins.
Yes, Simpkins,
we've
yes.
actually improved so that it's being used, but We have the same number of public works, the buildings and grounds employees we had 10 years ago. We have more parks, more people using them. And he's just doing more with less, and it's awesome.
Well, that's a feather in your hat then too, if more people are using it.
I'd like to say also that the town board watches the finances very carefully. I look at every invoice. Dr. Waters is also involved, Harley. I can tell you when we spend 39 cents for bolt at Home Depot.
Yeah.
We watch the finances and we come in under budget every single year.
Well, it's because we have Michael sitting back there, the little leprechaun. He's excellent. No,
We
Michael,
listen to Michael.
Yes, he's
And
fantastic.
that's why when the tourism board came up with a rather ambitious
Whoa.
tourism plan,
Yes.
they worked on it for 2 years with Michael. And when Michael vets something and says, you should do this, believe me, I listen to him.
Yes.
And when he says you shouldn't do something, I listen. So that is the reason why that really zipped through the board at that time. People say, well, you don't even talk about it, you don't listen. Well, we had spent a lot of time with staff, had the pieces, we understood it, and there wasn't need to debate it at length.
Not at all. I want to go back to something else too, and that's on the 3-minute time limit. We have the clock, and we have the buzzer that goes off at the end of the 3 minutes, but I have yet to hear our chair say, your 3 minutes are up, stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
She has always, and Mike before that, has let people continue talking. Now, if they went on for 30 seconds after that, and they say, your time is up, as a caution. And most people say, well, I'm almost done. And they've let them finish. So it's not like you can't talk. It's just the fact that you can't go on and on and on and on and ramble.
Right, especially when you see no end in sight.
That's correct.
And we do have at least one person that wanders off on everything, and
I know.
what can you do?
But sometimes he's so cute too.
Yes.
But people enjoy him. It's almost like a departure, but that adds to the clock too.
It does. But we're trying to respond to the
To
public.
everybody, yes. But you can't keep everybody happy all the time. Somebody said something like that one time. But
You know, I want to add too that I had one person come up and say something to us about being a professional-looking board. It makes us more professional, and it's the fact that we do dress differently than the previous town board did. We don't come in shorts and T-shirts.
Okay.
We don't do that. We want to represent our town. We want to represent it in a very professional way, and we act like we dress. We dress professionally, and we act professionally. And we want the town, the residents that come to the meeting, to feel that they're being represented by people who really care. To be on the town board, to receive no pay, to receive the harassment that we receive, to pay for many of the things that we have to pay for, like gas to attend meetings and so on, these things are costing us.
Mm-hmm.
We do this because we love our town. We care about the residents. We care about what's happening. And so when we make a vote and we vote for something, it's because we're doing it because we think that's the best interest of our town.
Yeah, I would like to say that we have been, yes, we're supposed to listen to the people. Sometimes we have more information than the public, simply because we go in and sit down and spend an hour, 2 hours talking to staff about things. But we're really charged in voting for what is best for Pahrump.
Yes.
And so, quite often, what is best for Pahrump isn't necessarily what the 30 people coming to our meeting and clapping and shouting believes is
we have
best.
to understand that there's other people involved too. We're like we only have about 30 seconds left. We have Dr. Waters here. We have Vicky Parker. This is the maximum amount of town board members that we can have and be legal. We've had Harley with you before, so we've changed around a little bit, but we can only have 2 on at one time, so that's why we don't have any more members.
Town birthday party, July 20.